regardless of what Bruce Arians is doing during the week, he is the guy on the sidelines for 3 hours on game day making the big decisions.
Right.
We've talked about this for years. On game day, the head coach doesn't really do all that much, but what the head coach does is very critical to the effort to win or lose games. He's the one making the final decision on, are we going for it on fourth down?
Right.
Are we going for 2? Do we decline that key penalty? We accept it or decline it. He's the one who's processing all of this.
He's pretty good at it too. We don't talk about his mismanaging game situations very much.
No,
think about it.
Think about it. We only talk about the guys who screw it up.
Yeah.
The guys who are doing it fine, they don't get noticed. It's like a long snapper.
Right.
Long snapper isn't noticed unless he's sailing the ball over the punter's head. Right.
Yeah.
So. Right. But you make a great point. Now Todd Bowles steps into that role. What's he going to do in that role? How involved is he going to be in the defense? Is he going to have any involvement in the offense, or is he just going to let Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady do what they've been doing and not barnstorm in and change things up late in the week? The Arians official version, because we do have to at least present it to folks who want to hear both sides of this. He said to Peter King that this was about succession, that this was about setting up Todd Bowles, setting up his guy. Succession's always been huge for me with the organization in probably the best shape it's been in its history with Tom Brady coming back. I'd rather see Todd in position to be successful and not have to take some crappy job. I'm probably retiring next year anyway in February, so I control the narrative right now. I don't control it next February because if Brady gets hurt, we go 10-7, and it's an open interview for the job. I got 31 coaches and their families that depend on me. My wife is big on not letting all those families down. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I get it. I get it. But you know what? Another thing that's hard to reconcile, he's been banging the drum the past 2 years for Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich to get one of those crappy jobs. Somebody needs to hire them. Yeah. He's never said once, well, you know what? I'm really not going to be here much longer. Hey, one of these guys is getting the job. I'm going to hand. It means a lot to me to be able to hand the throne to one of my guys. He's never said that. He's been pushing these guys to get jobs elsewhere. So, I think somebody who is very smart, who understands Bruce Arians very well, and I'm going to assume it was Jason Light. Somebody crafted a narrative that just cut right through the heart of it and went straight to Bruce Arians. And he said, yeah, you know what? This is a way for me to walk away with my head held high and make it look like I'm doing something selfless. Yeah. I'm making the right decision. And it has nothing to do with Tom Brady having qualms about coming back if I'm still the head coach. We won't have to go down that path.
Right. I could certainly see that happening. I would think something like that did happen. Yeah, that's the part I would love to know. How was that conversation or that topic, breached with Bruce Arians to sell it, to make it all go smoothly here? I don't deny, I think there's a lot of people out there in the NFL that would think, I think Bruce Arians was thinking about coming to the end, that this might have been his last year no matter what anyways. Also, I think a lot of people in the NFL would vouch for Bruce Arians, the guy. I mean, he is – you talk about coaches that worked for him, and they love Bruce Arians. He's almost got like a cult following within the NFL with the coaches. They'd do anything, some of them. I mean, they'd take a bullet for Bruce Arians. So he has that way, and he's always – been great to Todd Bowles and spoke very highly of him. So whether I buy the fact that this is the move or not, and this is why, or this is the reason he did this move, I don't know if I 100% buy that. I don't. I think like you, I think maybe this was something that was sold as a bill of goods to go, hey, this could be a good way to get out of here. But I also think this is naturally in Bruce Arians too, that he is the kind of guy that would want to set up his Todd Bowles or do right by him. Yeah, right.
It's why when Jason Light concocted the sale to Arians, it worked.
Yeah.
It's a great cover story. It's a great alternative narrative for what really happened. That's what makes this story so fascinating. You got a coach leaving on March 30. First time you've had a coach exit this late in the offseason since Jimmy Johnson in 1994, and we know what happened there.
Right.
This is very late in the day, and we're going to talk later coming up about some of the dynamics associated with a coach leaving this late in the calendar. This is not normal. This is not usual. This cries out for skepticism.
Exactly.
This cries out, especially because I was kind of waiting for this to happen.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about it, and I wasn't quite sure when it was going to happen, but I was kind of waiting for it to happen. And when you think about the timeline here, we got through the scouting combine, we got through free agency, and right on the other side of the league meetings. So Todd Bowles doesn't have to be burdened with any of the stuff that a coach has to do at the league meet. You know, you can focus on whatever it is you're focusing on.
Yep.
That's when Arians steps aside. It makes sense. If I was going to plan a timeline, this is exactly the timeline that I would have planned if I was doing it the perfect way. They've handled this perfectly from the standpoint of maximizing the number of people who buy it and don't say, I think it's about Tom Brady. The problem is there's going to be a lot of people who are always wired to think this is about Tom Brady.
Yeah, no question. And you know, I guess the thing that I just will always have in my head is Bruce Arians at the Combine talking about, you know, the future quarterbacks at the position for the Bucs and all that. I mean, somewhere something changed there. That's just a little bit what's, I think, you know, the shining, whatever you want to say it, the thing that you look at to go, wait, that doesn't make sense. And it is very late in the game. I mean, it really is. It's rare, but I would say this is one organization, or the way they're set up right now, it's not going to really affect them. It's not, you know, as far as what they need to get done here in the offseason. As much as we know a head coach in football is as important as any other head coach in any other sport, this is a different thing where you got a team that, of course, is battle-tested, knows how to win, got some veterans at the right spot, and you got a guy like Tom Brady on the offensive side of the ball at quarterback to where, hey, practice, Jason Light doing the evaluations for draft and free agency. I mean, none of that should fall off. I would think the offseason could go as scheduled, and they're going to be a well-oiled machine. It's when the season starts. That's when I'm going to be interested to see the effect of now Todd Bowles is running the sideline that we talked about, and he's the guy, you know, roaming the facility on a day-to-day basis that has to connect the guys and be real with them and let the guy know you're not doing good enough if you want to play and all that. That's where I'm going to be interested to see how this whole transition plays out.
Bruce Arians was present for the first day or two of the league meetings, and he spoke to Steve Weish of NFL Network while he was there.
So he was there for a day or two.
He was there for a day or two.
Right, okay.
And he said that as it relates to the quarterback position, we had started to uncover as many stones as we possibly could. We would have turned over every stone. Jason Light did his calls. We were in the midst of all that stuff when Tom decided to come back, and thank God we could say, no thanks, brother, we're out of it. So they're already starting to sprinkle the narrative then. But you're right. I think he'd still be there. They'd have Baker Mayfield or Deshaun Watson as their quarterback because, remember, in 2018, Bruce Arians said if he was going to unretire and go back to coaching, Cleveland was the only job he wanted. And, of course, he took Tampa Bay, which is another one of these things that there's so many things about Bruce Arians that don't line up, and nobody – I don't know, not many people will say, that doesn't make any sense. You know, before Tom Brady retired, I'll be shocked if he retires. He retires. Then he retires. I'll be shocked if he unretires. He unretires. I mean, he gets shocked a lot. And my guess is he was probably shocked when he found out that Tom Brady was coming back, only with the express understanding that there was going to be a change. And we had up on the screen the note, the letter that Arians sent out to the players. The idea that there it is there. I saw something in there. The next to last paragraph, with Tom coming back, the guys we've been able to retain, and the new free agents we've added, I know that the team is built for continued success. I mean, this goes beyond Tom Brady. You've got Ryan Jensen, who's stayed. You've got Leonard Fournette, who's back. You've got Logan Ryan, who joined the team.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear a peep from any of these guys that, man, I wouldn't have come back if I'd known the head coach was leaving.
No,
none of them is going to say that.
No.
None of them is going to say it. And it's no disrespect at all to Bruce Arians. It's just a reality that he had kind of morphed into figurehead role. That he wasn't, and to his credit, he wasn't trying to make it look like he was working any harder than he was. Now, if he had, that would have created even more resentment among the people who were doing the work. He was very blatant and open with his position on, I've delegated everything to Byron Leftwich. I've delegated everything to Todd Bowles defensively.
Right.
I'm just kind of here overseeing, and that makes it easier for the guys who made pretty big decisions for their own personal careers to stay in Tampa or come to Tampa, and now they're finding out the head coach isn't going to be there. And again, nobody's troubled by it.
No, because it's Brady, right? I mean, it's just like we talked about. I mean, it's what Bruce Arians talked about. He left us a quote right earlier this week. It was when he said, "Hey, guys want to come to Tampa because they want to play with Brady and get a chance to get a ring." You're right. I mean, if those guys came to Tampa and then Brady left, they'd be like, "Oh, crapola. What? I came here because of Tom Brady and a chance to win the ring." Yes, to your point, they're not saying that this morning. They might be going, "Ah, damn, I love BA, Bruce Arians. He's so cool. I was kind of excited to play for him." But they're not like, "Oh, man, this is life-changing, and I might have made a mistake by being here now." That is not going.
Well, what are we going to do? How are we going to win? How are we going to win?
That's not going through.
We got no chance now. We're no longer Super Bowl contenders.
Right.
There's none of that buzz anywhere that you a week ago, 2 weeks ago. God, it feels like the last 2 weeks have been 2 decades. But when Davante Adams leaves the Packers, that does a lot more to the perception of the Packers being a Super Bowl contender than Bruce Arians leaving the Buccaneers.
Yes.
A lot more.
Yes.
We're not even having the conversation that, advantage Rams. We're not having that conversation.
No.
Now, we should. Maybe we should.
Yeah.
As you said earlier.
I think you're
taking away pretty important game day presence for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right.
But if it came down to Arians or Brady, that's why we're not saying it.
Exactly right.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. You're right. But I think the other part of it is, hey, we're just going to not that we think they're going to fall off a cliff. We still think they're going to be really good. But, yeah, I want to see it. I got to see it. I want to see it a little bit. Yeah, until then, I do have some questions because I do. Again, I think we're being disrespectful to any head coach, even a head coach like Bruce Arians who's an overseer, when there's success, there's a history of success, there's a history of being able to communicate and motivate football players, and like we talked about, really being a pretty damn good game day manager. I mean, as we said that earlier, I'm going back to Arizona and the Colts, and I'm going, damn, I don't remember ever talking about Bruce Arians messing up a game management situation. So, that confidence a team can have and, the swagger and the toughness, that all comes from the head coach. And, it's kind of an image of them that's portrayed through a team. Teams are usually similar to their head coach. Their edginess. Yeah, Bruce Arians is edgy. That's the way they are. And we'll see. I mean, I want to see how they adopt to Todd Bowles' style as a coach. And does that translate to a little bit of a different team or a less edgy team on the football field? Those are the things I think, are fair to question, and we'll see how that goes once the season starts.
Todd Bowles is much less vocal, much less profane, much more restrained than Bruce Arians.
Right.
But when it goes down, Todd Bowles is ready.
He get fired up,
so,
no doubt.
Yes.
No doubt.
And Bowles has time with the Jets.
Yep.
He's been a head coach. He was an interim coach in Miami. He's been around for a while, and he gets the job instead of Byron Leftwich. So, and Byron Leftwich, I think, got more serious consideration this year. He was almost the Jacksonville coach.
Right.
And but for a power play that was made there, apparently, and based on all reports, that he wanted Adrian Wilson, the Cardinals executive, to be the GM and Trent Baalke to be out. But for that, maybe he would have been the head coach of the Jaguars. So Leftwich will presumably continue to be on that short list of candidates for head coaching jobs elsewhere. And Bowles got a 5-year contract to become the next head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.